Now that we've trimmed the ears and head, it's time to move on to the neck and shoulders. Taking back to our visualization of that golden retriever that we were talking about, I want to see a little bit more neck, but I don't want to take too much of this. This is very, what I call sacred. Even the AKC standard says that this should not be touched. Well, sometimes you have to, because if you don't, they can look stuffy necked. If they have all this hair up here, by taking some out, you're going to give them more of an elongated neck, and it's going to improve the whole outline. But I don't want to take this so that it looks like I've taken much out of there. I would never take clippers to this. I would never take any of the guard hairs out if I could avoid it. So I'm going to look at this dog. This dog has a nice, strong, muscular neck, and I want to enhance that. I want to utilize that. So when I'm looking at him, I'm looking at what's got bulk to it. This kind of sticks out. From the front, it looks bulky. From the side, you can even see it. This hair here is a little bit too full. If I take my comb, and I'm going to put him back up on the noose on his muzzle, so I can utilize everything in here without having that interfere with it. And I put a comb through it, and I mash it down a little bit. I can see his neck elongates a little bit. So that tells me this has too much volume. Okay? This is going to be a little bit different than the other volume that we have done because of undercoat. This has some thick, woolly undercoat where the other areas that we did, like his head and his ears, don't have an undercoat. It was more of a length to it. So I'm going to take my stripping knives and first pull out some of the undercoat. I'm going to start with my medium or large. And at this point, if he wants to sit, it's okay. It's not as crucial that they're standing on this as it is maybe when we come to the shoulders, or it was when we do the feet. So I'm going to start with the side of the neck first and start stripping out some of this undercoat. But I'm not going to use a normal stripping knife. You would grab the hair and pull it, and it makes a cut. I don't want to do that. I'm going to use it as a rake and just pull down. As I do this, I should see undercoat coming out, which I do. So long as I do that and I'm getting some hair out, I want to continue with this motion. Now I'm going to prop his chin up and pull his ear up to stretch it out a little bit. Okay? Clean out this hair that gets caught in there every so often so you can see exactly what you're getting out. If you stop getting hair out, or a lot of it, then it's time to move to the fine-tooth one. And this is going to get out a little bit different textured hair. Stay. Now you want to be careful too that if you have a real sharp stripping knife, you don't want to be too rough, because you can irritate the skin or even cause them to bleed, and you don't want to do that. You just want to get this undercoat out. Okay, I'm getting, stay, good boy. I'm still getting some, so I'm going to continue this to where it stops. The reason that I take this out first before I go to my thinning scissor is if I go in there with my thinning scissor and I'm cutting hair that would want to come out anyway, or is fairly loose like this hair is, as soon as this hair comes out, it's going to leave a hole. And it's not going to look smooth, and then all of a sudden I have hack marks and it looks like I've trimmed, and I don't want to look trimmed. As most natural as I can. So. And as you see, this is pulling out a whole lot more than the other one was. So I'm going to continue to use this until it stops. Okay, we'll bring him back over here. Now I've got some of that. I'm going to take this on around to the front because I know some has to come out there. That way I don't have to go back again. pull his head up, it straightens it out, stay. And I'm going to come down only to the area that I want, just a little bit above where I want to start coming back out again. If I go down too far, then I'm going to start pulling it out of here, and I lose that front end. Because remember, he has adequate, but I want a little bit more. So this is sacred hair to me. Clean out your stripping knife if it gets too full, or if you don't know how much hair is coming out. Now, a good rule of thumb, if you have a dog that has a tremendous amount of undercoat and it's real bushy, you should start this 4 weeks before you want to show them. And every week you do this same routine, because you can only take out so much at one time. If you try to take it all out at once, you're going to end up with a mess. Okay, so a little bit of time. Now I'm going to stand him up a little bit. Sometimes you get really lucky and you won't have to do any more work. You've taken out enough just by stripping it out like that it looks good. Already I can see a difference. This is starting to lay flatter. This is starting to be a nice neck. It has elongated this. I've still left some strength to his neck. But I want this smooth. I want this to look like the neck is really, really gradually sloping down. Going to make his shoulders look more muscular, neck look stronger and longer. So, do a little bit more work. As soon as I stop getting a lot of hair, which I'm just about at that point, I'm not getting a whole lot out now. So I'm going to stop. Now I'm going to move on to my thinning scissor. Again, using the devolumizing motion, which is up under the skin, or up under the hair next to the skin. I'm going to find the areas like this that are real thick, and I'm going to attack that area first. Take a snip, make sure I'm not hitting the same area again, and I'm going to snip it again. Now keep your thinning scissors as clean as you can. Keep them without hair in it so that it will give you a truer cut, and you can also tell where you've got to cut again. Okay, now I want you to see something. You see how I'm seeing some white hair here? You have to be careful. Because he has a little bit of a darker color than his light undercoat, I have to watch. I don't want to take too much of the guard hairs, because the thinning scissors will take guard hairs out. You're cutting undercoat and guard hairs. So I just have to keep that in mind as I'm taking them out. But anywhere that I see big bulkiness, I'm going to go back in and do it again. Again, as close to the skin as I can. And as you notice, I came up here because I want to blend in the areas that I already have with what I'm doing now. It's all got to look smooth and neat. See how it's already starting to come? Just a little bit of bulkiness, maybe a little bit through here and down here. So I'm going to take one up here, a couple down here, and one up there. Now, let's comb it out. As you see, I've been doing this for a long time, and even I do it little by little by little. Make sure all the hair is out of there. See how my neck is really coming together? I've got now some definition. This is smooth. Just have a few little bits here. Again, the reason that I can see that, I'm thinking about that perfect neck. I'm visualizing how that neck is. So I can work this out. It's bulky, it's not the way I want it. How do I get rid of it? Devolumize. Lift its head up a little bit. Come up under here. Come around the front so I can blend it with what I've already got. Now, this is the point where you have to know when to stop. When it's really starting to look good, when it's starting to appear what you need to do. Make sure, if it looks good, stop. Don't force the issue. Because when you force it is when you leave holes. It's when you start making mistakes. And even though I want you to make mistakes because you'll learn from them, if I can teach you ways that you will save yourself from making those mistakes, that's what I want also. Everything now is looking really nice. I'm going to do one last test. I'm going to put the noose back on him because it'll kind of act as though it's my show collar. Make it loose. Fit it up around the neck. Stay. Try to get him to stand right and see how it looks. See how when I pull it up, stay, good boy. When I comb it out and pull it up, how does that neck look? It's looking strong. Looks smooth. You don't see a bunch of hole marks. It doesn't look like I've taken any hair out of here other than maybe it just naturally grew that way. No clipper marks. It's perfect. So now I can move on to the shoulder because I want to blend all this together. And the shoulder is done a little bit differently. And the reason being is because you have a longer hair here. So I'm going to take the shoulder, and if you remember how I line brushed before the bath, I'm going to do the same thing but with a stripping knife. So I'm going to lift the hair up right at the edge where I want to strip it out, and I take my, starting again with the larger or the medium, and I'm going to pull the undercoat out. Now as I do this, I'm allowing, if you watch up here, I'm allowing more hair to come out so that I don't have to stop and let go. The motion of me pulling on the hair is pulling more out. And I just walk right up it. When I get to the point where it's hard to see, start again. And if you want to do it in a line, that's fine. If you want to make sure that you're going to get it all to where you want it, same rule of thumb, if I'm getting coat out with this, keep using it. If it starts to where I'm not getting any coat out, switch to the other one. But because I'm attacking at the base of the hair, right where the undercoat is, I'm also taking very little guard hairs. Not getting much out, time to switch. I am going to take my comb, run it through there once, just to see how it's looking, because sometimes, like I said, it can look good. You won't have to do any more. I still see some volume, so I'm going to do some more. You'll find that this, the fine tooth, will always take out more than the other one. But the reason I do this one last is because sometimes the other one will have done enough that I don't have to do any more. And like I told you before, the least amount of work that I have to do, the better, because that means less chance that I have to make a mistake, and the more natural it will look. Now, here's a little exception to my rule. I've got this laying really nice. It has probably decreased in height by about 40%. But I know that if I continue this, I'm going to have longer hairs that are going to come over. I can see how the length of this is longer than that. So what I want to do is I want to take some of those guard hairs out. I want to thin the guard hairs as well as the undercoat. So I'm going to very, very carefully make about 4 or 5 cuts, starting here where I can see this line, and bring it down to right about there. Make sure my scissors are clean. Starting here, down to the skin, and the skin, and the skin, and on around. That's all. Comb it out. Now, if you'll see, there's a lot of hair there. There's the undercoat. There's the guard hairs. Look what's happened. It smoothed it all. Now I have less of a transition here from this long hair to this. And I have devolumized it also. So now, when I look at my whole neck and shoulders, it has also, I want you to see something. It has also, remember I wanted to have this dog, it was a little bit straighter in the front than he was in the rear. By doing this, now it has actually accentuated this line. His angulation has improved because this is now making almost a divider. So now my eye is going, hey, there's more angulation. All right, cool. Okay. Everything's looking smooth. It looks tidy. I may go back in there. I don't know. I'm thinking that probably at this point, this is one that I would say, okay, enough's enough. Let's not do any more. Let's let this rest for a week and come back and do it again. Because I like the look of that. That's what I was striving for. And it's easy. Just take it slow.